As an adult, you've gone through all sorts of fascinating changes as your body has reached maturity. You may have gone through puberty, and you may be old enough to drink. But what if I told you there's a little-known phenomenon you still might be completely unaware of? Megastructure. What does this 4-syllable word mean to you? Does it create an instant throbbing microstructure in your body? Does it give you the urge to traverse a vast constructed space all by yourself? Where might this feeling be coming from? Why does it happen? Don't worry. This program is dedicated to answering your burning questions. So let's start at the source. This is Tsutomu Nihei, a renowned manga artist known for his works depicting megastructures. But what is a megastructure? Well, imagine a Burger King. Now imagine that this Burger King is as big as the Earth. If you're not American, and therefore can't imagine a burger, then simply imagine a structure so inconceivably large, made of nothing but cold metal, miles and miles of it, so vast that if you dedicated your whole life to exploring it, you'd only see the smallest, insignificant fraction of it. It's so old that anyone who knew what purpose it served died forever ago, and no one remembers them. No one truly remembers a time before this structure existed, and all that's left is great and terrible machinery that turns on and on in the wretched belly of this endless metal nightmare. Now that's Mega. Nihei's unique ability to portray these vast industrial landscapes and complex architecture creates a unique craving in the brain that's hard to satisfy with just any old media. We call this physical response Niheivulation. If you find yourself starting to Niheivulate, don't be embarrassed. It's nothing to worry about. All you have to do is stimulate yourself with some relevant material. Nihei has many works to his name that could help with your Niheivulation cycle. Manga such as Aposims, Knights of Sidonia, Mega, and his most influential work, Blam, with an E. Not all people experience Niheivulation the same way, but studies have found that this work is particularly stimulating for most individuals. Blam with an E follows Killy, a man who travels through a solar system-sized city called The City in search of someone with net terminal genes. These genes are the key to controlling the city's rogue AI, which in the years since the net terminal gene has died off, haven't stopped building out the city even without any human input. And if all that wasn't bad enough, the city has an autonomous program called the Safeguard that kills everyone without the net terminal gene, which is basically everyone, because no one has it anymore. That's pretty scary. But I'm glad that no one wants to put AI in charge of anything important in real life. Along the way, Killy is joined by Shibo, a brilliant scientist with knowledge of... Whoa, holy shit, I love women in STEM. And like most women in STEM, Shibo puts in a lot of work, while Killy takes all of the credit.
The vast majority of blame is Killy alone.
Their journey through the city spans literal decades as they face threats of all shapes and sizes in their search for the net terminal gene. Let's meet some friendly faces. Blam with an E's dark cyberpunk atmosphere and unique setting are the root cause of Niheivulation, but can also serve as a powerful stimulant for particularly troublesome cycles. Repeated exposure to Nihei's works can dull the stimulating sensation they provide, so let's take a look at some other sources of relief if you find yourself unable to abate your Niheivulation. Over time, Nihei's influence has grown stronger than ever, so it should be no problem to find something that'll satisfy your cravings. You already know Killy, but do you know Elster? Wow, it's like Sonacon had a lesbian baby. Again, Rose Engine's Signalis may be lacking in Megastructures, but its cyberpunk aesthetic and Nihei-esque character designs are sure to help you cope with an intense Niheivulation cycle. Be careful though, you might just start signal-ovulating. How about this man? Do you know him? How about now? That's right. Nihei's influence can be found just about anywhere if you know what to look for. What's that? You're still Niheivulating? In that case, let's go over a potent class of stimulants that should help you scratch that nasty Nihei itch.
Ah, fuck. That's what I got for using a VHS in 2025. Great. Okay, fine. I'll talk about the games, but you still have to finish this worksheet by the end of the video. So, over the past decade or so, a subgenre that's mostly just referred to as Megastructure games has cropped up. And they're all pretty unabashedly inspired by Tsutomu Nihei's manga, but mostly Blam specifically, and a new one called Hypogea just came out, so I figured we could just take a look at these games in chronological order and see how each of them draw inspiration from Nihei's work. And we're starting off with 2014's NaissanceE, with an E, from French developer Limos 5, and what a good place to start. The stark monochrome environments are absolutely gorgeous when you get a chance to look around, and their scale is super impressive. Some areas feel like they were ripped straight from the pages of Blam, and honestly I have no complaints with that. Seeing those environments in 3D is a real treat. The vibes are absolutely immaculate when you're just exploring this massive abstract world. But at the same time, this game actually tries a little too hard to be a video game for my tastes. Let me explain. First off, they give you an infinite sprint, which is super helpful for running around these huge environments, but it also has a Gears of War active reload mechanic for some mysterious French reason, and it's just really distracting. To the game's credit, you can at least turn off the blinking visual for the QTE in the settings, but I'm still pretty sure that it only exists for a very specific section late in the game, because otherwise it just feels incredibly hostile for no reason. Oh, I know what you're gonna say. It's hostile on purpose. You're supposed to feel uncomfortable and alienated. NaissanceE is of course heavily inspired by Nihei's work, and a major theme in his manga is vast, impossible spaces made with no regard for anyone who could actually inhabit them. These worlds may have started out similar to our own, but over time they've transformed into something completely alien to those that are left to survive in them. They're not actually made for people, and they'll never be fully understood. I think NaissanceE captures this feeling to a certain extent. My problem isn't just that you're exploring this hostile world, it's that you're exploring a world that's hostile in an annoying video gamey way, and without the background that makes Blam City so provocative. I think a standout moment where this is executed poorly is when you have to choose between flashbang platforming or Velma with no glasses platforming. I didn't really feel like I was in a vast, unknowable world beyond human design. I felt like I was in a really unfun part of a video game that I wanted to get past to actually see that world. That being said, there are moments where this is executed really well. Like when you have to ascend a staircase in complete darkness for almost 3 full minutes with no end in sight, completely unsure if you're even going anywhere. It really captures a sense of scale and unease that I think these other gameplay sections are hinting towards, but not quite reaching. And I do want to say again, the environments are super pretty. The minimalist aesthetic combined with the scale of the megastructure works a lot in the game's favor. It sets a unique atmosphere that I feel forms the core of the game's identity for the better. Also, the game is free, so if nothing else, you're getting a very artistic and difficult to chew on experience for literally nothing, no matter how you feel about its execution. Every art museum has its hits and misses, and Naissance is no different. Overall, I'd say it's like if someone took the most esoteric aspects of Nihei's work, infused it into a cigarette, then blew the smoke in your face before putting it out on you. And if you're someone who salivates at the thought of that, and hey, I'm not here to yuck your yums, then you'll absolutely love this game. So, overall, Naissance has some very high highs and some very low lows. "10 years have passed, and 2024 has given us 2 Megastructure games for today's video. And first up is Lorn's Lure by Rubeki Games, a freeform climbing game set inside of a megastructure. And when I say freeform, I really mean it. Your picks can attach to just about any vertical surface, and you only get more mobile as you progress through the story. Which is good, because there's a unique sort of problem solving required to traverse a space so vast and OSHA non-compliant as a Nihei-style megastructure, and you'll need every tool you can get to avoid plummeting to your untimely death. Each of the game's 8 chapters feature unique platforming challenges and optional collectibles to really test your skills. And there's a variety of environmental eye candy as you dive deeper and deeper into the bowels of this centuries-old complex. A standout for me is Chapter 2, Failed Biome, where you start at the top of the level and have to work your way down to the bottom before climbing back up and then down again. That might sound tedious, but the direction you're coming from really changes how you have to approach the level. What was easy on your way down might be difficult on the way back up, and you might only have access to a path when you're going one way or the other. It's some really elegant level design, and it gives you plenty of opportunities to get used to your new wall jumping ability, which you'll be using excessively for the rest of the game. Why is it called a tic-tac though, hello? This is immediately followed by Chapter 3, Waste Tunnels. This one trades the spacious architectural marvels often associated with Nihei's works for dark caverns and cramped, claustrophobic tunnels. Often, your only source of light will be flares fired from a shoulder-mounted cannon acquired at the start of the level. The fact that the megastructure of Lorn's Lure can support these varied environments is really cool and makes for some great level design, but unfortunately, I feel like the quality does start to degrade the farther you get. Around the midpoint, you get an air dash that grants a huge mobility boost, but it also comes with a shift in the level design where you'll start seeing a lot of the ramps that you can't stand on, but they recharge your dash if you keep jumping against them, and it just feels kinda janky. Like, I just don't find it satisfying to mash up a ramp until I get my stamina back, sorry. Also, fuck this tower. I like to affectionately describe Lorn's Lure as a Roblox obby with insane vibes, but this is just like, actually, a Roblox obby. I cannot think of a single reason these white ramps would exist in this world other than to let me climb this tower. All that being said, I think the game ends on a high note with a really fun new late game ability, which is apparently a hot take, but I think I'll leave you to see that for yourself. And you really should, because this is a really fun video game. And unlike Naissance, I think that works in its favor. It turns out it's pretty fun to parkour across what's essentially a 2-page spread from Blam. It's funny though, I feel that this game is at its most Nihei when you're encountering a small vignette showing what life is like for the people who live on that given level of the megastructure. You're basically peeling away layers of civilization as you go deeper, and it all manages to tie together in a compelling way that's still vague enough to keep you wondering about what you haven't seen. Definitely worth a pickup. Go check it out. Hey, wait a sec, I know this guy. 2024 also gave us Julian Heuser's Year Unknown, a short, narrative-driven experience that I think has flown under the radar of a lot of Nihei fans who are otherwise very good at sniffing out little-known Megastructure games. So you might be wondering how I know about this game, and full disclosure, it's because I know the developer personally. So you can take whatever I have to say with a massive grain of salt, but I wanted to check it out anyway. The premise is pretty simple. You wake up at least 1 more billion years in the future, in an unknown time and an unknown place with no one else around. Understandably confused, you set out to get some answers about just what the hell is going on around here. Early on, you meet 2 interface AI, the optimistic, life-loving Al and the nihilistic loner, Bo. Together, the 3 of you discover a distress signal at the center of the city, And along your journey there, you make some shocking revelations that might just end up determining the path of the universe itself. I don't want to give too much of the story away because this is such a short game, but you could say that Year Unknown is more or less blam if humanity never lost control of the city, and it uses this premise as a springboard for its own existentialist musings. Instead of an infinite prison where every day is a struggle, what happens when humanity's made a structure so vast and so perfect that it basically contains an infinite utopia? Infinite people, infinite art, even infinite knowledge. The city's stark white edifice is a perfect mirror of the grimy megastructures often found in works inspired by Nihei, but there's still plenty alien. The world has still been twisted into something beyond normal human understanding, but this time there's an element of control that's lacking in most other Megastructure games. It's a deeply meditative experience, and Outland Bow essentially acts as a sort of Greek chorus as you uncover the nature of the city, and it becomes clear that its fate is in your hands. I think that Year Unknown is a little on the short side for the ideas it wants to convey, and I feel like the ending doesn't entirely do justice to the depth of its subject matter, but I still think there's plenty of artistry on display to warrant a look. So I'd easily recommend this to any Megastructure fan who likes the headier and more humanist themes present in Nihei's work. Hashtag not biased. So we've made it to the big 2025, and this last March saw the release of Tenerisoft's Metal Garden. In some far-flung future, corporations are at war in a megastructure whose purpose seems to be long forgotten. You are a nomad, and after your trusty mech breaks down, you're left with nothing but a pistol, a knife, and some jump boots to fight your way out of enemy territory. You'll have to go through groups of hostile scavengers and angry catmen as you search for a way out, and perhaps even escape the megastructure itself. Metal Garden plays like a mix of Half-Life 2 and Quake, and that early aughts graphical style combined with environments that are a mix of nature and looming artifice are very, very Halo. All that's missing is a nail polish collab. No, seriously, I'd buy that. Please answer my emails to Tenerisoft. But yeah, there's shooting, there's platforming, there's lore to uncover, and that's all inside an hour-and-a-half runtime. There's really only 2 or 3 enemy types, but they're mixed up pretty effectively across a number of unique set pieces that manage to keep things fresh pretty much the whole way through. There's also some secret areas along the way that delve even deeper into the history of the game's megastructure, so be sure to keep an eye open as you explore. Metal Garden is just an absolute treat, whether you're a Tsutomu Nihei fan or even if you just like old school FPS games. I'm definitely looking forward to whatever Tenerisoft puts out next, and you should be too. This is a seriously kick-ass game made by trans women, so you should go buy it and support them now. Totally not biased. All of this brings us to a game that came out like less than a week ago as I was writing this. It's Charlie Wagner's Hypogea, a game by another French developer. Talk about full circle. And let me tell you, this game is an absolute treat, and surprisingly nice. This time around, we take the role of an abandoned automaton in a mysterious underground facility. And after being awakened by a different robot and gifted a pull staff to aid in getting around, the two of you work together to bring power back to the decaying megastructure and escape above ground, while meeting a few friends along the way. The central pole vaulting mechanic is super novel, and enough new mechanics and wrinkles are added to the platforming throughout the game to keep things feeling fresh the whole way through. There are even some optional platforming challenges if you want to seek out each of the game's 24 hidden artifacts. Something that stands out to me is how unique the vibes are compared to pretty much every other Megastructure game out there. There's soft bloom lighting and everything has a slightly cartoonish style to it. I mean this in the most affectionate way possible, but it kind of feels like a licensed game for one of those late-aughts cult classic kids movies that no one remembers. You know, shit like The Tale of Despero, Igor, seriously, does anyone remember Igor? And Nine, a movie that's very near and dear to my heart. In fact, Charlie Wagner has actually come out and cited Nine as a direct inspiration, and it really shows. You've got a staff-wielding robot, a partner who looks identical to you, and the backstories of both works also share a lot of similarities. The megastructure itself is also pretty small compared to everything else in this list, which I think ends up contributing to the chill platforming vibes. This is honestly the perfect game for people who might like the aesthetic, but who are put off by the more unsettling and cerebral aspects of Nihei's work. Speaking of, will this satisfy your Nihei cravings? Probably not, but it's still a really beautiful game with a really unique platforming mechanic, so I can't recommend it enough. I give Hypogea a final score of 9 out of 9. You know, I honestly love how Megastructure games can cover such a broad spectrum from cozy atmospheric platformers to abstract nightmare hellscapes, and each one brings unique aesthetics to the table, while still holding on to the same underlying themes. From NaissanceE's hostile environments ripped straight from the pages of Blam, to Hypogea's soft and stress-free underground facility, there really is something for every Nihei fan, all unified by tons and tons of yummy, yummy concrete. Wait a sec, I feel like I'm forgetting something. Oh, fuck, I forgot Bavdi and White Knuckle and all this other shit. Okay, fine. I'll put the video back on, and I'll go play those real quick, and I'll be right back. Okay.
And that's why the Arbiter would be the top between him and Master Chief. So now that you've been sufficiently stimulated by Megastructure media, your body should be ready to conceive a brand new bundle of joy. That's right, dopamine. What's that? Not ready for that kind of responsibility? Don't worry, we have you covered.
Yes, bring me the great Glooge.
Hello. It's time for
Bring me
Glooge combo.
Glooge. Glooging it the fuck up. Every day when I wake up, I glooge. And it's not a sex thing.
Tell the audience. Tell the audience what glooging is. Explain
sex.
in detail.
A glooger
right now.
is something that is gloogey. Does this not make sense to you?
What does that mean?
A glooger is something that's gloogey. For example, those gloogers that were exploding and killing you previously in the game, those are gloogers. See? Not sex related. Did you look at those things and go, I want to have sex with those? No, you didn't.
Somebody
so
might.
Why are you
Somebody
saying
might.
That gloogers are sex. There's no sex involved.
I'm not saying they're sex. I'm saying that glooge sounds sexual. That's what I'm saying.
But it's not. The important distinction to make is that it's not sexual. It simply sounds sexual.